Hey, welcome to the ProutNow.com interview series. We'll let our panel introduce themselves. First is Mayank.
Namaskar, Dr. Inayatullah. We have been communicating with each other for some time. My name is Mayank. I live in Houston, United States, and I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. Yeah, I'm really glad to be here today to interview you.
Thank you.
And Rajendra.
Yeah, Namaskar, Dr. Inayatullah. I'm Rajendra from India. Basically, my profession is I'm a chemical engineer by profession. And recently I superannuated since 2020, and now I'm associated with Prout. So I love working with Prout, and during that, I have gone through many of your videos, and I'm your Facebook friend also. So it is very nice to hear from you today. Thank you so much.
Great to meet you. So we have two engineers already.
Okay, and Manish.
Hello, Dr. Inayatullah. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Manish Dev. I live in the US, and I'm also an engineer by profession. So, but I'm more so on the IT and the software side. So I'm part of the Proud Now editorial team, which is our team here. So we are so happy to be interviewing you today. Thank you for your
Great
time.
to be here. Thanks so much. Great to meet you.
And my name is Madhusudan. I'm the editor of ProutNow.com and president of Proudest Universal in the United States.
It's brilliant.
And
great to meet you as well. Have we met before?
we have met before a long, long time ago. We first met in Hawaii.
Ah, yes, I lived in Honolulu almost 20 years.
Anyway, that's another long story.
I understand.
Okay, so it is our pleasure today to welcome Dr. Sohail Inayatullah. Professor Inayatullah is the UNESCO Chair in Future Studies at Sejahtera Center for Sustainability and Humanity, IIUM. He is a political scientist futurist at Tamkang University, Taipei, and an associate at Melbourne Business School, the University of Melbourne. In 2021, he was a futurist-in-residence for the Government of Abu Dhabi. From 2011 to 2014, he was an adjunct professor at the Center for Policing, Counterterrorism, and Intelligence, Macquarie University, Sydney. In 1999, he was UNESCO Chair in European Studies at the University of Trier, Germany. He is listed in the top 2% of the world's scientists as measured by the highest impact of citations. Dr. Inayatullah has authored and co-edited 28 books, including Understanding Sarkar, 2002, Situating Sarkar, 1999, Prout in Power, 2017, CLA 3.0, 30 Years of Transformative Research, 2022, From Anticipation to Emancipation, 2022, The End of the Cow and Other Emerging Issues, 2022, and Futures Thinking in Asia and the Pacific, 2020. His PhD was on the world philosopher Sri P.R. Sarkar, the founder of Prout. Sri P.R. Sarkar read parts of his PhD thesis and commented on the text. Dr. Inayatullah, a warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for taking time to be with us today, despite your busy schedule.
Brilliant. Great to be here. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much. And we will start off with the first question. Please tell us, what is future studies?
So I was 17 and moved from Malaysia to Hawaii. And I had grown up in a situation. My father was working with the UN. My mother was a mystic, a Sufi mystic. And so what I learned from them, our discussions with my father, was very nation-centric. If we see a nation-centric world, it's a realist world, though. It's a geopolitical world. To get out of that is nearly impossible. So at 17, someone was teaching a course on future studies, and suddenly I saw here's a way out. Instead of only being structured in geopolitics, we can choose different worldviews and offer different alternatives, a spiritual worldview, a feminist worldview, an idealistic worldview. So suddenly the notion of going from nothing is possible to anything is possible was the core of future studies. The methods and tools are about macro history, the large 1,000-year patterns, 50-year patterns. The methods and tools are also scenarios, not what will happen, but what's possible, what might happen. So future studies is really exploration of alternative and preferred futures. It says, yes, there's structure to history, but how can we find agency, our capacity to influence the future in any given moment? So if you know Sri Sarkar's work, he talked in his 1990 talk, I believe it was, you've entered galloping time. And the uniqueness of galloping time is not just the acceleration of time, but as he argued, the ability to enhance your agency. You have greater impact when time gallops. If you study the French Revolution, no one with any certainty could say, here's what will happen tomorrow. Would the bourgeois win? Would the aristocrats win? Would the clergy win? Time was speedy, time was plastic. So I think that's the core of his argument. As time accelerates, gallops, uncertainty increases, that's difficulty. But also the ability to influence increases. And that's what I think Prout Universe is about, to find ways within the world system, you might say, the points of pressure to help navigate, to help make it jump to a new world. And future studies is a way to do that. You might say, for those of you, it's Prout Light. It's a way to talk about Prout in language that's easily accessible to the engineer, to the scientist, to the business leader.
That's very interesting. So, in light of future studies, what should we be doing now to see the future that we would all like to see, such as eliminating poverty or universal education or universal healthcare?
So this is dependent on your worldview. So I wish I could say do X, Y, Z. But what we've learned in doing this work, that's always the wrong answer. So strategy comes from, we will do this to you. So if you look at international development agencies, they work with a group in any country and they say, please tell us what to do. And the expert says, do this. Now, I think if you think that through, that's still strategy in a zero-sum game. The world is limited. You have to compete against X and win by doing Y. Futures thinking and Prout as well says, actually, you're co-designing. No one's above or below. We're all on this planet together. So you eliminate hierarchy of persons, but also hierarchy of knowledge, hierarchy of who knows best. And you co-design and you co-create. So every project I do, it's almost weekly, there's a different person or group or country I'm working with, and there's different answers. So of course, in Prout, we have some core principles, the social cycle, universal, the notion of a wealth cap, notion of deep spiritual ethical leadership. We have some core ideas, but the application, the connection, the community is all time, space, person dependent. So I'm hesitant to tell people do X. My role, and I think all of our roles, is to find where the possibilities of change, which they identify in their local knowledge, their local ways of knowing, and we work with them almost like a gardener to help create the new crop, the new field. So I'm asked a lot in future studies, tell us what will happen, tell us what to do. And that's the mistake everyone makes, that they have the answer. I'm very clear with my limited understanding, limited body and mind. Here's what I know and here's what I don't know. But if you get many smart people together, we can create more.
Well, can you give us an example of something you've worked on where you've applied future studies?
Okay, for example, we were working with UNDP in Egypt. And their issue was post-COVID strategies. And I think the remarkable thing that came out of that meeting is everyone says, let's use AI to help large corporations create new value. And that meeting, once we did scenarios of no change, marginal, adaptive, radical, it became very clear the radical scenarios, how do you use AI for the poor? So not for the large agribusiness, but how do we get AI into every farmer, every person on the street in Cairo selling fruits and vegetables, into their smartphone so they can better understand implications of food and climate change, real-time pricing, real-time trends. Because if we want to transform the economy, it's using AI for the poor, AI for the greater good as a way to increase power. And so this was to me quite novel. Many organizations, we use future studies to rethink their purpose. With one large international development agency, their purpose was infrastructure. But as you could see, with the nature of intelligence changing, is really our purpose creating more infrastructure, or really is our purpose creating more knowledge, tailored knowledge, precision knowledge, knowledge that's person country focused? So they start to think about redoing their purpose from the infrastructure development provider to the knowledge development provider. So as the world changes, things work, and then we enter a bottleneck where our strategy doesn't work, who we are doesn't work. And that's where Futures comes in and says, we have to change our core narrative and we have to change our strategy. With one Olympic group we were working with, it was, I can't tell you the country or the group, but they were looking at swimming and winning, right? So they had a very core strategy, which was heavily funded by the national government to win more gold medals. So they said, well, how can we do this better? So as we went through this process, it became very clear they had a metaphor, which was the golden second. That if you train Olympians, that last second is what decides between no medal, bronze, silver, gold. I said, well, that's great. That's working. Why do you need to talk to us? You know, you're experts. You're sports scientists. I said, yeah, we're doing the visioning. We're teaching meditation. We're doing exercise. We're doing all the things to increase our ability to change the future for Olympian swimmer. I said, then what's the problem? He said, the problem is after the Olympics. I go, what do you mean? They go, many of our Olympians, they're so used to competition, they go home and they continue competition in the home, which doesn't make sense. They're so used to these hormones going in their body, serotonin, to feel good. Now they're looking for hormones, even though they're no longer Olympians. So we see spouse abuse, drug abuse. So then it became very clear they had the wrong story. The story was the golden second. As we worked with them, they suggested, it's the golden life. Golden life means not just winning in the pool, but winning in life, which means emotional intelligence, lifelong literacy, financial literacy, spiritual intelligence. The goal of Futures, it works, it doesn't work. What's a broader, deeper, more effective way to transform self-society of the world? So these are examples of Futures thinking in practice. As you can see, the underlay are some of the core ideas that emerged from Prout. Emotional intelligence, gender equity, spiritual literacy.
Fascinating.